Welcome to Petty Details, where the crew gallivants down a tree-lined lane of conversation on all kinds of different subjects. Join the crew as they jump in the Wayback Machine in the quest for nuggets of knowledge. Our journey will allegedly drop some petty details on you that you didn't know you needed to know until now. Hello, crew!
Hi.
Hey.
So today, I want to welcome, as always, my co-hosts, Cam and Monica.
What's up?
And today, I am wearing my Ice Fog shirt. Ugh.
Oh,
Rock on.
Yes. And Cam, I believe you have a new shirt on.
yes, I'm being a little narcissistic and I'm wearing my own quote. Just a thought, not a fact.
Just a
Cam
thought.
2024.
We love it. We love it.
Still feel like that's a campaign slogan.
It is. I would vote for him.
I would,
Yeah,
based on that quote alone.
just not a fact. Very topical, honestly.
Yes, absolutely. And Monica,
Yes, ma'am.
what is behind you?
Oh, you mean this bad boy?
Oh
It's our
boy.
Wayback Machine.
Yay!
That is our Wayback Machine.
I love it.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
I love it. So, speaking of the Wayback Machine, we got a comment the other day that said that we need better sound effects for our Wayback Machine.
Well, any suggestions on the sound effects?
Okay,
Like what
sorry.
kind of sound?
So I
thought I was
calling-
doing great.
I'm calling out Gary on this podcast
Gary.
right now.
Got you, Gary.
No, I'm calling him out because he was supposed to get us and make us new Wayback Machine sounds,
Oh.
and I have yet to see them.
Oh, Gary, bring him on, man. Bring him on.
So if you don't like our Wayback Machine sound effects, then please make in the comments that Gary needs to make them.
Bring this poor man onto the podcast just to grill him for sound effects is crazy.
That's right.
So where are they at? And what are they going to
Right.
sound like?
That's right.
So what's,
there you
what's
go.
the status of these? Come on.
Mhm.
Well, now I'm like nervous to do the sound effects if we take the Wayback Machine.
Are we taking the
Scared.
Wayback Machine today?
We are. We actually are
Oh.
today. Yeah.
Okay.
Dust it off!
I also wanted to point out my new accessory back here.
Okay, that lamp
Oh.
is amazing.
It's my little dinosaur lamp, and I love him.
Ooh.
He makes me happy.
Where did you get that?
My husband made him for my birthday.
Of course he did.
That's so sweet.
Of course he did, because
Yeah.
mad talent right there.
Mhm. Yep, so I'm pretty pleased with that. And I wanted to give a shout out to 2 more of our listeners who have subscribed.
Oh,
yeah.
Good. Everyone should do that, actually.
Everybody should do that.
Just saying
Yes,
that.
indeed.
Yes,
But welcome
please
to the
do.
noobs.
But we have, I know, Skylar and
Oh.
Travis for sure from Don Ayers Honda here in Fort Wayne.
Welcome to the crew.
Hello.
That's right. So if you need a car, go and see them. They are very helpful, very easy to deal with, and they listen to us. So obviously
That's
they're
actually-
cool.
That's where we got our Wayback
Obviously.
Machine, honestly.
It
From
is.
them.
It is.
It was in the back.
Yeah.
You got to ask for the special deals.
Mhm.
Right.
That's right. It is a special. All right. So today I want to talk about something that is going to be probably on Monica's mind coming up this next week.
I'm curious.
Yes. All right. So last time
Up
we
this
talked about plane crashes.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about the plane crashes that did things that were precursors to the NTSB and FAA. But we're going to
Right.
build on that today.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So we are going to go in the Wayback Machine to 1960. Gary. Okay, so
Mine sounded like it exploded.
Right. I was like,
well, we are
I was
talking about
supposed to be
plane
the
crashes.
engine
So it's fine.
firing up, and that was, yeah, it sounded like it crashed.
All right, so the Trans-Australian Airlines Flight 538
mhm.
took off from Brisbane, Australia on 6/10/1960. It was headed to Mackay. And this
Okay.
would be about an hour flight today up the coast.
Okay.
In 1960, I think it was a little bit longer,
Just a touch.
just a touch. But when they were going to land, pilots were told that the airfield was closed due to fog,
Okay.
Ice fog?
ice fog.
Nice
Yeah.
fuck.
To be
Mhm.
specific.
Specifically, yes.
Yeah.
And they had been holding off the coast for over an hour while the fog cleared. But at 10 p.m., the airfield reopens and they try another approach. So the plane was seen making 2 approaches, but
Okay.
both were abandoned and the pilots proceeded to go around. But by about 10:05 p.m., the air traffic controller gets no response from the pilots.
Oh.
So 2 days passed before they found the crash site, and then another 2 weeks it took to salvage this plane.
Oh my
Whoa.
gosh.
And 29 people died.
Jeez.
And they never did find the cause of this crash.
So they never found the
Okay.
black box, or they just couldn't figure out what happened.
Well, this was before all that.
Ah, gotcha.
So the theories are that either the altimeter was malfunctioning or was misread, and that's the gauge that tells you your altitude,
Mm-hmm.
or that they somehow got too low because it was hard to see like above the ocean and their wingtip hit the water, which caused the crash. But all of this leads to Australia becoming the first country to mandate all commercial aircraft of a certain size have a cockpit voice recorder.
Nice.
It's the black
Yeah.
box.
And it was invented by an Australian. His name
Mhm.
is David Warren, and it was invented in 1957.
Nice.
Wow.
Fun fact, it's not actually black, but yeah.
Right.
Is
Right.
it a box?
It is.
It
But it's
is.
bright
okay.
orange. It's bright orange so they
Yeah.
can see it easier. They can locate it better.
Yes.
That makes sense.
But that's the cockpit voice recorder. So
No.
now that we've got the cockpit voice recorder, and we know that it was invented in 1957, we're going to talk about the flight data recorder,
Uh-huh.
or the black box,
Mhm.
which was actually invented even earlier.
Oh.
Yeah. So the first very simple one was built in France in 1939. And these were first invented to record test flights.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So let's fast forward to 1942 when the Matahari version was made in Finland. And again, this was used on test flights for the Finnish Air Force.
Mm.
But this was the first mechanical box.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Then in 1953, our previously mentioned inventor, Australian David Warren, started to experiment with combining these boxes. So Warren's version was the first one that was built with civilian flying in mind.
Oh, okay.
And unfortunately, nobody in Australia really cared to make these mandatory until 1967.
Oh, wow.
When international regulations required both cockpit voice recorders and flight data recorders.
Okay.
That's pretty late, though.
It is. I was
Yeah.
just thinking about that. I was like, for as long as flying has been around, that is rather late in the game, it seems like.
Yep.
Definitely.
So now let's get back in our Wayback Machine, and we're going to fast forward to 1977. And we're going to head over onto Spain.
Ooh.
Yeah. Which is
I'm liking it here.
Right.
Yeah. You guys see that?
Right. España.
So we have a fully loaded KLM 747 that had about 14 crew and 234 passengers. And they were going to depart from Los Rodeos Airport in Tenerife, Spain.
Okay.
Then we have another Pan Am 747 that has 16 crew and 380 passengers. Here's the thing. Neither of these planes were even scheduled to be at Tenerife Airport. They both had been diverted from Gran Canaria, Las Palmas, because of a terrorist bomb that had exploded at the terminal.
Whoa.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. This is the 70s. Like that was the kind of height of
Okay.
Terrorism?
No,
Oh,
but specifically like hijacking planes and stuff like
Oh,
that.
okay. Okay.
So there's a second warning of another bomb at this airport, so they shut it down. So now you've got more traffic at a smaller regional airport with only 2 air traffic controllers on duty.
Oof.
Because everything is being diverted to the smaller airport.
Mm.
And this
Gotcha.
airport is so small that it only has one runway. So it's got one taxiway that's parallel, and there's not a lot of parking for these planes that are all stuck there.
Yeah.
So they have so many large planes backed up at this airport that planes are having to park on the taxiway.
Oh no.
Yeah. So because of all this parking chaos, the planes are having to taxi along the runway instead of the taxiway to get them in position for takeoff.
Jeez.
Wow.
Okay.
That sounds like chaos.
It is.
No,
Yeah.
literally.
It's also not ideal flying weather. It's pretty cloudy and has fog, which is leading to reduced visibility. So it's just a bad day in Spain.
Yeah.
So it's finally time for the Pan Am flight to take off, since the Gran Canaria airport has finally reopened. But the Pan Am flight is blocked in by the KLM flight, who is refueling. So at 4:56 p.m., KLM is given the clearance to taxi on the runway and line up for takeoff on the other end. Meanwhile, at 5:02, Pan Am is given clearance to start its taxi along the runway and then get off at the third exit to get out of the way.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh,
So
this
they're
is
both-
gonna be horrible.
Yeah, so they're both kind of coming at each other, but then the Pan Am is supposed to get off.
They're gonna chicken, and then one's gonna have to. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see what's gonna happen. So
Oh,
Yeah.
God. They're like, turn now, turn now.
Right.
well,
They need the little guy with the little the lights. He's like doing this. He's just
Yeah,
All over the place.
it looks
Poor
like a
kid.
Yeah.
rave down there. Yeah.
Right.
Well, the Pan Am plane can't take the third exit because it's about 148-degree turn.
Oh,
so they're a
geez.
little confused, and they continue to taxi down the runway toward the fourth exit, which they could make.
Oh Lord.
And remember, these are
geez.
big planes. These are both
Yeah.
747s.
Yeah.
Like they can't turn on a dime.
I was gonna say
Full-size
they were
commercial
supposed to
planes.
make a turn at that 148-degree angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So at 5:05, the KLM plane received its takeoff clearance from the air traffic control. At the same time, Pan Am says that they are passing exit 2.
Oh no.
So at 5:06, KLM says it's starting to take off and starts rolling. And the air traffic controller replies, okay.
So these are two different traffic controllers in the same port, but they're telling, like, it's not the same people telling them both, or
Go
is it the
ahead.
same people telling them you
It's,
do
oh,
this
there's
and
2
you do
air
this?
traffic controllers,
Right?
and there's 2 flights.
And okay, so they are both on separate controllers. Like, two planes are on separate air
I
traffic.
don't know that.
It's not the same
for
people
sure.
telling them, "Hey, you can
Yeah,
go,
there's
and
not-
also you can go."
Right. It's not
Right?
one air traffic controller
I
saying
think
you
it's
go
2
and you
different ones.
go.
I
Okay.
don't quote me on that though. I'm not
Okay.
100% sure on that.
Because I mean, it would be fine if it's the same one, and they're like, "Okay, if this person can make it here in this time and turn off before they leave, then yeah."
Well, they're
But-
supposed to do that. Yeah. So okay, so at 5:06 the KLM starts rolling.
Mhm.
Air traffic control replies okay. Then a couple seconds later, air traffic control tells him, stand by for takeoff. I will call you.
Okay.
But he's
Which
already
is-
rolling.
He's already
Yeah.
rolling. So at the same time, Pan Am informs air traffic control that they are still taxiing down the runway.
Oh jeez.
And at 5:06, air traffic control tells Pan Am to report when they are off the runway.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what you have to remember is that everybody can hear each other. So it doesn't really matter if there
It
are 2
doesn't-
air traffic controllers or not.
It's true.
Okay, that's true. All right.
So KLM hears that transmission, and the engineer on the flight asks the captain, is he not clear then? Because they're like, what the hell's going on? Like, they just told
Right.
us that we could take off,
Right.
but then they told us we can't take off. But then this other guy says that he's going to call when he's clear. And the
Which
captain,
is, yeah, like, which is it?
right. And the captain responds, But by that time, it's just too late. So at 5:06, the Pan Am flight sees the KLM coming straight at them.
Oh, because it's foggy. Oh
Yeah.
no. Well, because at that point I'd be like, if there's any question that anyone else is on the runway, I'm just gonna stop. But
Right.
once you've gotten a plane going, you can't really just stop it.
No.
So,
And there's nowhere for the other one to go.
Yeah,
right,
because the airport's that big.
Right. And there are all these planes on the other side. So it's not like he can. Yeah.
right.
So the Pan Am crew does try to accelerate and turn left toward the grass to get out of the way. They tried.
Hmm.
And the KLM flight also tried to pull up, but it was no use. The planes collided 9 seconds after that. The
Ugh.
KLM plane was moving at about 160 miles per hour when it hit the Pan Am plane.
Holy crap.
Jeez.
The KLM left engines, main landing gear, and most of the lower fuselage hit the Pan Am's right side, which ripped the plane in two.
Oh.
The KLM plane kind of jumped over the Pan Am plane and it hits the ground about 500 feet past the collision and then bursts into flames.
Ugh.
Sadly, all 248 people on the KLM plane died and 335 on the Pan Am flight died, but somehow 61 people on that Pan Am flight lived,
Oh,
Wow.
dang.
which is crazy when you see pictures of this.
I
That's
bet.
wild.
So, a petty detail. Initially, KLM suggested that the captain of the flight should help with the investigation because he was one of the training captains for the 747s and had been in ads and stuff, not
Mm-hmm.
knowing that he was the captain of the flight that crashed and was dead.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Can you imagine like how that person felt that was like, oh yeah, we should have Captain so and so do it. And they're like,
You're like, so not gonna happen.
not gonna happen.
Right.
Yeah.
He is
So
not
the
here.
biggest problems
Right.
here, the fog, which means neither plane could see each other until they were way too close.
Right.
Mhm.
And there was a lot of overlapping communication and interference, which means the KLM crew was having trouble with the air traffic control messages.
Hmm.
And
Mm.
at the smaller airport, the air traffic controllers didn't have ground radar and the runway was covered with fog, so they couldn't actually see the runway.
Oh, so they were just like, oh, this is how we think you guys should go.
This
Go
is
on
where we think
ahead.
you're at. Yeah.
That's wild.
And
Okay.
Jeez.
then we get the communication between the planes and the air traffic control. And it was concluded that the KLM captain thought he had clearance to take off,
Mm-hmm.
but the air traffic controller thought he was still waiting on the runway.
Oh,
Bruh.
Right.
yikes.
Um, and this was because the controller had used the word takeoff in his initial statement about clearance.
Mm,
So the biggest thing to come out of this is that communication really needed to be standardized because it wasn't standardized at any of these airports.
Right.
So the
Like,
English
these are
language.
the buzzwords you should not use if this is
Exactly.
not happening.
Yeah.
right.
Right. So the English language was selected as the standard for all radio communications at this point. And this also leads to things like reading back of the instructions received, which wasn't done before this.
Okay.
And it was more standardization of phrases that are used in communications. So
Okay.
unless you're cleared for takeoff, you don't say takeoff.
Right. Those
Right.
words don't get uttered unless you are actually like,
Actually,
this is what we're doing.
Right.
right.
Yep.
Gotcha. Which, I mean, in hindsight, right, it makes complete and utter sense. Like, why didn't they do that sooner? Why was that not a thing? But then you don't really stop to think until,
Right.
Mhm.
there's either
It's
a
not a problem
language
until it's a
barrier
problem.
or, yeah, exactly. It's not a
And these
problem
aren't
until
like,
it is.
yeah,
Yep.
these aren't like little things you're messing with. These are giant planes that you
Right.
were
Yeah.
you are
With
Exactly.
operating
hundreds
giant
of
machines.
people.
Yeah.
Yes. So now we are going to fast forward to 1983
Okay.
Good
when
year. Good
an
year.
air
Yeah, loved it. Loved it.
nice vintage.
Yeah.
So this is when an Air Canada flight 797 took off from Dallas,
Okay.
headed towards Toronto in June of 83.
Mm.
There were 41 passengers and 5 crew on board. And about 6:51 p.m., the flight is over Kentucky,
Okay.
great state in Kentucky. People
Mhm.
know nobody believed me when I'm like, no, Kentucky's cool.
Yeah.
And then I did get some comments on that on that episode. They were like, Kentucky's kind of cool. I'm like, I told you.
See,
Anyway,
facts.
so the flight is over Kentucky when people start hearing pops coming from the rear
Oh no!
bathroom. Nobody
From
wants
the
this.
bathroom?
From the bathroom, and not
From
like farts, like
Okay, I was gonna say somebody was
from the
at
no,
Chipotle before they got on the
from
flight.
the
Come
which
on.
bathroom? The rear one or the
the
front
rear
one?
bathroom.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, neither one is a good place to hear
No,
popping, but still.
yeah. So the pilots start looking around for the causes, and they see that the bathroom circuit breaker has been tripped. So they try and reset it.
Oh no.
This wasn't anything really unusual, as circuit breakers in the bathrooms tripped pretty often.
I mean, that's probably like the one place that there's a lot of water moving, so
Yeah,
Maybe, but I feel like if you have a circuit breaker that's tripping that often,
it's
maybe
probably
I
a
don't know,
move
problem.
maybe look for the root cause because
Yeah.
they're not supposed to do that
No,
Right.
regularly.
no. Um, so the pilots try to reset them again after about 8 minutes and find that the breakers are popping out as he pushes them in to reset them. Like they're just popping,
Oh,
popping,
oh,
popping.
so
Yeah.
Oh,
So
emergency landing, emergency
probably not
landing.
good, right?
right?
So well,
Yeah.
they're still trying to figure it out though. They're like, it's just circuit breaker in the bathroom, right? Like this
Right.
isn't
What could
an
go
What could
wrong?
it
emergency.
what could it possibly control?
Yeah. So they're like trying to figure it out and they're
The
like,
landing gear.
It's the flushing. They're
yeah,
like,
so
Yeah.
maybe we need to
oh,
close the bathroom or something like this. But I mean, they're
Right.
trying to figure it out, but it's not like a
right.
big deal at this point. And then it is a big deal. So a
Yeah.
passenger in the last row tells the flight attendant that there is a strange smell coming from the back of the plane at around
Oh,
7 p.m.
That's never good.
About 10 minutes later, right?
It's
they're
never
like, it's the
good.
bathroom, guys.
Right.
Just it's
Right.
all in the bathroom. It's all in your head.
So the flight attendant starts to try and figure out like what the smell is. They're trying to find it, and they figure out that it's coming from the back lavatory. So she opens the door, obviously, because she's like, well, what the hell's going
What
on?
is it?
And
Yeah.
there's snakes on the plane. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
No, but there is smoke in the bathroom,
Oh
Oh,
no.
but she
this is why
doesn't
you're
see
not
any
allowed to
flames.
smoke on planes.
Yeah, but she doesn't see any flames. So,
Okay.
um, a couple other flight attendants go to investigate. They're like trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And they see thick black smoke coming from the seams of the walls. But again, they
Black
aren't seeing
smoke.
any flames. Yeah, it's just black smoke.
Okay, but black smoke means
Yeah.
Right.
not
Typically
good.
never a good
Not
idea
good.
or never a good sign.
Yeah. And remember, this is the time that you can smoke in a bathroom
Right.
or anywhere on the plane.
Which is was ever a thing. Like I get it, but like crazy. Like
I
Mhm.
remember
I still
that. I remember
still
that.
remember when I was a kid, like restaurants and stuff would let you
Oh yeah.
smoke inside, like or a smoking
Smoking or
section and a
yeah.
non-smoking section when you could just get secondhand smoke
Yeah,
from
it just doesn't
across
matter.
this.
When there
It's
was
like
like just
a
half a
tiny
wall.
wall. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
If there was
literally.
even a wall. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
wild.
Okay,
On this side of
so
the aisle versus that side of the
yeah,
aisle.
Right,
exactly.
and it would suck to get the
Ridiculous.
table that was right on the other side of the wall. You're like,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So we've got this black, thick smoke in the bathroom. We don't see any flames at this point.
mhm.
So the flight attendants are like, we should probably spray this room with a fire extinguisher and move passengers away from the area.
Might be a good idea.
Okay. So they
Yeah.
do this because now they're like, there's probably a problem. And they also open vents to let in more fresh air while they inform the
Okay.
cockpit because the cockpit doesn't really know what the hell's going on except for all these circuit breakers are going. So they're like,
Right.
hey, we have a problem back here. But the pilots think that it's just a trash can fire that'll be put out soon so they don't start descending right away because it's kind of a it's not like a normal everyday thing, but obviously it happened enough that it was like, oh well,
Put
you
it out.
just
We
spray
can
it
keep
and-
going. It's fine.
Mhm,
Yeah.
right. So about 7:07, So remember, this started at
This is
6:51.
I was gonna say this is happening quickly.
Yes.
Yeah.
The master caution light comes on, and then the captain is like, oh, this problem, like we need to get down. So they declare an electrical problem to the Indianapolis Air Traffic Control.
Okay.
At about the same time, the first officer has gone to investigate what's going on. He comes back from investigating the lavatory and finds the door hot to the touch. And he tells the captain, we need to get down now.
Oh, that escalated quickly.
Right. So at 7:08, so a minute later, the captain calls Mayday to air traffic control. They declare they have some flight instruments not working, and that the horizontal stabilizer is stuck.
Oh,
jeez.
So things are going downhill quickly. The PAA system has also failed, which is making it difficult for the flight attendants to give instructions.
Okay.
But they move everybody to the front of the plane and they start to like yell instructions on how to open the exit rows, which weren't standard on commercial flights at this time.
The instructions or the exit?
I believe the instructions.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I was supposed to say the exit. I feel like should be
no, the exit
pretty standardized
they
at
had
that
exits,
point.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Also, does moving everybody to the front of the plane like front heavy the plane itself, or
it can,
like,
but I think at this point they're more worried about the
getting
smoke. Yeah.
Okay.
They can
being
work
close
around.
to the fire is not desirable over plane front ending. Okay.
Right. Yeah. They can work around that. Right. They can do different calculations or whatever.
Pull up. Yeah.
So the flight lands at 7:20.
Oh, dang. Okay.
At Cincinnati Airport, where fire crews are waiting for them. They came down so hard that 4 tires blew during the hard landing.
Oh dang.
Okay, because they're like, we need to get down right
now.
Yeah. But the overwing and front doors are open and the slides are deployed.
Nice.
Okay.
18 passengers start to get out of the plane and 3 flight attendants. But about a minute after opening the doors, there is a flash fire that traps 23 people.
Because of the oxygen.
Oh, because, yep. I was just going to say, because they opened the doors, it flashed. Yep.
Oh.
Now, the pilots are able to get out of the plane through the cockpit windows.
Okay.
Oh, dang. Okay.
So we do have some people that are alive. So obviously that's a good thing.
Right.
And the cause of the fire is never determined.
Wait, were the trapped people passed away?
The 23 people, yeah.
Oh, okay.
The cause of the fire is never determined, but some recommendations did come out of this. And the first was to require smoke detectors in the bathroom.
You know.
Novel idea.
Yeah.
Again, all of these are like, duh, in hindsight.
You're not gonna, if you don't want to smoke in the flight, you're gonna go to the bathroom, obviously.
Yeah. But isn't it crazy? Like all this stuff that you just take for granted, you're like, oh.
Why is there a smoke detector in the bathroom? What?
Well, I don't even think it. Yeah, honestly, I never even thought about it because I was like, of course, there's a smoke detector in the bathroom.
Right.
Or there's a smoke detector. Period. Like,
why wouldn't there be? Right?
Yeah.
Like,
why wouldn't there be? Yeah.
Exactly. They also require automatic fire extinguishers in the bathroom trash receptacles because, again, people get smoke on the planes. This happened.
Right. Yep.
It happened enough that they're like, we should probably
do something.
This. Right. Now, they did determine that it was not a fire in the trash can. Yeah, they did figure that much out, but they don't know the actual cause of it.
Well, I was going to say, if the smoke was coming from the seams of the walls, then
probably something.
The third
no one's hiding cigarettes in the hopefully.
Right.
Like, stick them in the.
Right.
So the third thing that they did was put fire blocking seat materials and less toxic chemicals in the seats to help stop the spread of the fire and toxins if there is a fire.
You know, good standards that,
Oh, yeah.
Why were we using toxins in the seats in the first place? You know,
well, I was gonna say the materials that they like the adhesives and the fabrics and stuff, the cushion, not the fabric, the cushions that they were made out of, that's what
Right.
was when on fire,
On fire.
yeah, that's what's toxic is all
Oh
the
yeah.
crap coming out of
Oh,
it.
Didn't they do that for
jeez.
couches
Yes.
too at some point in time?
People were falling asleep on their couches with cigarettes, so yeah.
Yeah.
I was genuinely thinking like, why would your couch catch on fire? But that makes more sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
Hmm.
if you're smoking it and then you
Yep.
just pass out.
So don't
Yeah.
smoke, guys.
Yeah.
Okay,
A
so
dare PSA.
Just say no.
Yeah,
just
yeah,
say
yeah.
no. And one of the most recognizable things that came out of this recommendation because of this accident was that emergency lighting on the floors and over exit rows be put on planes.
Good.
They
Okay.
didn't have that.
That's wild.
Uh-huh.
Huh.
Cause like, how do you see
Right.
when
Mm-hmm.
the plane is filled with smoke? You
Yeah.
guess where you're going.
Yeah.
Yes, pretty much.
So obviously, I would consider those guys on flight 797 to be hero pilots because
Mm,
they were able to save 23 people.
yeah.
Yeah.
But as always, I want to end on a good note.
Okay.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So we are going to talk about British Airways Flight 38.
Mm,
Okay.
This was a flight from Beijing to London in January of 2008 on a Boeing 777. There are 136 passengers and 16 crew on board.
Okay.
okay.
The flight goes over Siberia and Scandinavia.
Ooh.
That is kind of a colder
Cold.
climate.
Yeah. Little chilly.
It is
Little
cold.
chilly, yeah. And knowing this, the crew was monitoring the fuel temperature.
Okay.
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 Makes
And
sense to me.
right, yeah. And the fuel temp is doing just fine. It never drops below its freezing point. So they think,
Critical.
yeah. So
Yeah.
they think
A
they're
critical
good.
point.
And the fuel temp is I'm sorry. And the plane is about to land at Heathrow in London.
Mhm.
And about 2 miles out, the engines start not responding to the auto throttle.
Oh
Hmm.
no.
So now they're like, what's going on? Like this flight has been
Right.
fine the whole time.
Right.
So the engines are obviously not working correctly. And so they took the plane off of autopilot and they start preparing the plane to glide longer by adjusting the flaps.
Okay.
Okay.
The crew has to declare an emergency just seconds before hitting the ground. And the crew was somehow able to glide the plane over a residential street,
Oh no.
a highway,
Oh my gosh.
and barely over the airport perimeter gates
Oh no.
to slam about 890 feet short of the runway.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
So they literally
That's
just kind
crazy.
of floated in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dang.
The nose landing gear collapsed. The right landing gear came off and poked a hole in the fuel tank and the cabin of the plane.
Oh no.
And the left landing gear pushed through the wing.
Ooh.
Jeez. Well, I guess yeah, you're like it's
Mm,
all weight on
yeah.
there's no
Talk about skill though
Yeah.
on the pilot's part to be able to glide
hmm
that in.
Right. So there were a few injuries, but no fatalities. And it turned
Wow.
out the water that was in the fuel had frozen
Oh.
because it has a lower freezing temperature than jet fuel.
Yep.
Yes. And
Why
that's what caused
why is there
the
water in the jet fuel?
right.
Yeah.
That's my question.
Yeah.
And that's what caused the engines to not respond, I'm assuming.
Right. So the ice had clogged the fuel oil heat exchanger on the engines and restricted the fuel flow.
Oh wow.
Jeez.
So, in response to this, the fuel oil, this is a hard word to say, fuel oil heat exchanger was redesigned and mandated on all aircraft. So they fixed
Wow.
it. And all 16 of the crew were awarded the British Airways Safety Medal for their performance and also received the President's Award from the Royal Aeronautical Society.
Wow.
Nice.
Mhm.
Heck yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, they did an impressive feat, so
They did.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So there you go, crew. I know Monica will be flying soon. So now
Yes.
you'll remember why there is safety lighting and smoke detectors in the bathroom.
Yep.
So when you hear the little speech, you're gonna be like, I know why they do that now.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
I will.
I'm gonna have so
Well,
much
we-
knowledge for my first flight. I'll be so prepared.
You are for real.
I'll be like, you know what? Let me fly the plane. Get out
Right.
of here.
I
got
I got
this.
this. I
Yeah.
even know what a fuel oil heat exchanger is. So
Exactly,
And that is
exactly.
mandated. Like we
Yeah.
got this.
And I'm not
We got
putting
this,
water
fam.
in the jet fuel. Easy.
Right?
easy peasy.
Yeah.
Duh.
Exactly.
All right, everybody. Stay petty and safe when flying, my friends, and don't smoke.
Indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
No smoking. Just say no.
All right. Bye.
See ya.
Later.